completely blessed with a great team, a great support system, and not only that, just like loyal customers and guests that we share memories with. That's that's part of it. It's like we want to welcome you into our house. So that's just kind of been the formula since day one.
One of Cincinnati's local business owners, restaurateur, who has seen such an interesting growth in what he does for a living. Brendan Hague, the owner of Bees Barbecue, joins us. Buddy, thank you for coming on. I'm excited to talk to you.
So happy to be here with you, Jack.
I'm excited to have people really get an understanding of what it's like for you as a small business owner who has seen your passion for a thing grow. I think you've got such an interesting business trajectory, going from running pop-up barbecue spots to now 2 locations. What is it that got you into Texas barbecue in the first place?
It's interesting. I think I've always been into food, or especially cooking with fire.
Yeah.
Generally since Boy Scouts. Learning how to build a fire, put something on there, rotate it. Take the time, take the patience. That's really what got me into it. But yeah, just kind of like the meals we had at the family table really kind of drove that passion for me to maybe try it out professionally.
And wanting to make a pivot into like running a business out of it.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. This just started in the backyard. You remember those nights, countless beers, hollering at the moon, just kind of hanging out. And then people kind of, hey, you should probably do this, man. This is pretty good.
Yeah, because you started out doing pop-up barbecue. You got a smoker that you could attach as a trailer to your truck.
Right.
And was Dutch's in Hyde Park the first place that you were starting out?
Dutch's was the first place, yep. My brother was the chef de cuisine there at the time. During those days, they weren't open on Sundays, so the bar would stay open at from 5 to whenever, and they'd let me show up and sell barbecue. And immediately we had a following. I mean, there were lines at 4 o'clock ready for us to show up with brisket. And it kind of just grew from there. During COVID, found the shop on Chandler Street and worked towards getting that open.
Yeah, how big of a deal was that for you? Because going from doing the pop-ups in like the teens, and then opening your first brick and mortar spot during COVID, that's a huge change in the way that you're doing stuff.
Yeah. You kind of just got to go for it. We always did. We bought a house during the same time. I mean, we just kind of went all in. Whether the world was shut down or not, we wanted to kind of see what we got.
How did finding that spot in Madisonville at that Chandler carryout location, how did that come about?
I think I was just driving by. I was heading to my parents' house or something, and I saw a for lease sign, and was like, I'm going to inquire. A guy was trying to operate like a ghost kitchen out of it. I think he either ran out of money or just found something else to do. So he kind of sold me all his equipment. I took over the lease. It was not turnkey. It's a term used a lot.
Yeah.
But so we had to do some things and, deal with the city, which is a challenge sometimes. But we got it open. April 17th, I believe, was the soft open, which we had a line down the street. Not very soft. Yeah, that was it. And
going from, again, doing pop-ups for people to show up at a bar, now you've got your own spot. Right. And opening it during COVID, there's no inside seating at the Madisonville spot. It was just a carry-out.
Right, and it was kind of set up perfect for that. We had kind of like a one-in, one-out situation. We had the plexiglass and the masks and all the whole thing. But people seemed to be okay with it, They came in, we would sell out a brisket and everything else by noon sometimes, opening at 11.
Yeah, you guys consistently sell out. Yeah. What is it like for you as someone who is so passionate about food and cooking, and going from doing the pop-ups to now coming up with a maybe more stable menu that you've got to be offering on a daily basis at your first location?
Right.
Was that a big change too?
That was a big change, and that really had a lot to do with the space we got when we took over the old Pontiac space, just because of the storage, the Madisonville's 500 square feet, so we can only store so much, cook so much, and then serve so much in a day. So a lot of times we're getting multiple trucks, multiple orders a week, just trying to backfill.
What is that like trying to plan for as the owner?
Well, you kind of set your pars, you adjust them, you think you got it down, and then as soon as you do, you don't. Luckily with like this style of food, I feel like the right places are the ones that kind of sell out, you know? There's a demand for it, and you can't rush it. So you kind of have to just be like, all right, I think we will do this today based on this data from last week, and, you know, adjust if not. But, you know, we try to keep it fresh. I mean, we want to sell out every day at the Chandler shop for sure.
And that's the big pivot then. So you opened the place in Madisonville on Chandler in 21, and the goal really was to sort of sell out there every day. But then opportunity comes for a second location at the old Pontiac space on Vine Street, 14th and Vine, in Over the Rhine, in the heart of where like Cincinnati's little Over the Rhine Renaissance restaurant boom really started.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can now have an opportunity to move into the space where Pontiac Barbecue was. What in the world was that like, going from just running a carryout spot in Madisonville now to having a full restaurant, full bar in Over the Rhine? That's a huge change.
It's a huge jump. I mean, I guess when you look at it. But again, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, you gotta go. You gotta go. I would be so upset with myself if I hadn't tried or you know, attempted to you know, find that little avenue for growth. I think that's huge and important in this business, is, you know, adjusting and kind of rolling with the punches and seeing where you can, you know, get in and fit in and make yourself kind of a brand name. I mean, Cincy's tough. You know, I saw that list of all those restaurants. There's a ton, and not all of them will be here.
Right.
So to kind of have the longevity and that household name is important to us. And I think that's the only way to do it, is to do it and be hands-on with it.
Well, and I know you're a really hands-on guy, and the idea of being local and really stressing how, you know, you're a guy who's here, and this is where your roots are, and this is where things have grown for you. That's a big part of your identity.
Yeah. I never left Cincinnati. You know, not for college, not for anything. I kind of just leaned into it, and it's been great. I mean, I love this place. You know, I wouldn't live anywhere else.
So if going from wanting to sell out every day in the Madisonville spot is the goal there, but is that the opposite of the goal in your in the big Over the Rhine spot?
It's a dance. We definitely, you know, have to keep adjusting pars seasonally. We're pretty good about that. I've got a really good team of people that work their butts off, and this isn't a hard business, and especially with barbecue. Everything's heavy. You got to go up and down the stairs with, you know, hundreds of pounds of meat every day. So, you know, keeping an eye on that stuff closely and working with great people is it's a huge part of it.
What is that like for you? You know, we were talking about the stats from the National Restaurant Association about, you know, 80% feel like staffing is a concern. What is that like for you as an owner now of two locations?
I can't even tell you how lucky I am, Jack. I mean, just completely blessed with a great team, a great support system, and not only that, just like loyal customers and guests that, you know, we share memories with. You know, that's kind of that's part of it. It's like we want to welcome you into our house. So that's just kind of been the formula since day one.
You certainly set up. I mean, I know that part of your goal with the Over the Rhine location on Vine Street there was to feel cozy and inviting, and that was what you got featured in an issue of Texas Monthly. Yeah. There's a writer who had a flat tire and broke down here in Cincinnati and ended up at your place, and he talked about how cozy the joint was. Yeah. What was that like?
I mean, he's not just the writer; he's the editor for Texas Monthly. He's the OG, man.
That's the piece.
Yeah.
And had you talked to him before?
We had. I had met him at the Chandler shop briefly. He kind of came there with Keith Pandolfi at the end of a service. So
the Inquirer writer. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of food left, but I put together something for him, and he was very thankful and just a cool guy. I mean, so knowledgeable about not only Texas barbecue, just generally restaurants.
And that piece is specifically about, you know, that's a guy who writes about Texas barbecue, saying, I got to check out Cincinnati's barbecue scene, and he talks a lot about being at your place.
Yeah.
What in the world is that like?
It was an honor. I mean, you know, I don't know what else to say about that. It was just kind of a right place, right time kind of thing, and I'm glad I was there with him. Got to pick his brain a little bit. He's a Cincinnati guy, born here, so he comes in and visits every once in a while, but he is He is the prophet of barbecue in Texas for sure.
Did you get some like reaction and feedback from actual Texans and people seeing that article?
Yeah, I mean, you know how OTR is. It's kind of a transient neighborhood already, so we get a lot of people, a lot of travelers, a lot of visitors, a lot of Texans. So and for the most part, it's good stuff.
Was there a specific reason why, as a food person, that you went with Texas barbecue as the version that you really wanted to go all in on?
If you think about it, it's really Texas barbecue is kind of just. There's different types of Texas barbecue. It's a community within a community within a community. We do Texas style brisket. That means salt, pepper. We use oak and we use a cherry wood because we can get it here. But some of the other things we have, the sticky beans, that's, I have family in Kansas City. That's kind of a family evolution recipe there. We do, creamy stovetop mac and cheese. We do a southern style coleslaw. So, we kind of are pulling from some other places than Texas, but, Texas beef is king, and that's kind of the focus, and that's kind of what I think has gotten us to where we are is with the brisket.
Do people generally, like non-barbecue experts, do you think that people, is there a good understanding of what all the effort that goes into the food, like the smoke that you're talking about and the different woods as far as subtle flavors? There's a lot of subtlety to it. Is that something that you think people really realize? I think that's part of our job, is to kind of build that culture, educate people with, what we're doing. What good barbecue is, I know on that list you mentioned earlier, I didn't hear Montgomery in, but that is another staple of Cincinnati. It was really hard to come up with any kind of list of all the restaurants here in town.
So I think it is. It's part of our job to educate people and kind of explain our process. There's really no secrets. All those recipes are developed and worked on by all of us. So it really is just about time and patience and love and putting that ingredient is the most important one.
Yeah. Well, we are going to educate some folks about your product here. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, more from Brendan Hague of Beast Barbecue. We're going to show off some of the wares. Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, joined by Brendan Hague of Beast Barbecue. Now, that was a social media post on TikTok from just somebody who's been to the restaurant and wanted to show off the menu, and it had a really nice post about that. What is that like for you as far as being a business owner and seeing other folks, carrying the story forward?
Yeah, I think that's something you have to deal with these days. I think for the most part, we get good stuff.
Is there an element of letting go, like an artist, where you put the work out into the world and you just got to leave that up to folks now to talk about?
Absolutely. I think it's up to interpretation and people's, people feel creative doing their little TikTok videos and whatever.
Do you sit there and see them sitting in the seats making videos in the restaurant?
Yeah, we just had a local influencer come in last night and had a great meal, and we messaged back and forth, and I was like, oh, God, didn't know you were coming in. She's like, can't believe it took so long, Yeah. She did a nice video, so.
Well, so speaking of your product and the various wares that we have here on the Working Lunch, we've got a sampling of various products here at Beast Barbecue, a smattering. What you said, this is a certain name, right? It's like your sample platter?
Yeah, we call this the Hive. So basically, it's a great way to sample a couple different things. You get 4 meats and 4 sides. It comes with bread, pickles and onions, the sauce, and it's just a good way to share for 4 to 6 people.
Well, I'll tell you this, the one thing I do know, and I know that you get obviously a ton of credit and publicity for the brisket. The ribs are unmatched, but those who know, and the turkey is the way to go at Bees. You guys do tremendous turkey. I'm just going to tear this apart while we're going on it. You started out as a restaurant guy in terms of being a bartender. You worked at how many bars over the years before you started doing the restaurant stuff?
At least half a dozen, yeah.
What did you learn as a bartender and coming up that way that has now influenced the way that you are running these restaurants?
I think it taught me to keep things simple, keep things honest, and have a good product and something approachable for everybody.
Boy, that turkey's great. In terms of making the menu selections, we talked about, the decision when you're going from doing pop-ups to having a brick and mortar stand. Are there any ways that this menu gets tweaked as time goes on?
Yeah, I mean, with more equipment that we have downtown, we can do a little bit more. We're always going to push the boundaries. We're always running monthly specials. We're always kind of doing a monthly wing sauce. So, we kind of keep things fresh and exciting for the cooks, and we like to, play around with our food too.
What's your favorite that's in this platter right here?
I mean, the wings are killer, and the best thing about those is we're doing those for happy hour from Tuesday through Friday, 3 to 6. They're $1. So, I mean, it's hard to beat that.
How big of a deal was it when those chicken prices were through the roof? And
it was tough.
And you guys were having, you have to shoulder that. There's nothing you can do, right?
Not really. I mean, you can only go so high, before people are like, yeah, well, we're just not going to get those. So they've come back down, and we're doing okay now with the wings. But yeah, my favorite, it's got to be the hot link. It's nice and spicy.
You're a link guy?
Yeah, that's it's my recipe. Avril Blay makes them up for us by the 50-pound boxes. But yeah, that's a nice one. And Texans really like that one too.
You also talk about, because you are such a local guy, and you concern about sustainability and where you source things from. What is the thought process on that as a restaurateur?
Well, it's just it's just something you have to navigate. If prices are high with one house, then you're gonna have to look at the other house and see if we can get a better price on beef. We're gonna get it every week. It's just something you have to stay diligent about. Obviously, the local stuff we have made and who we use will never go stray from that. That's Mackey's at Findlay Market and Avril Blay, obviously on Court Street.
Yeah, Avril Blay's been around for a long time, and certainly Findlay
years,
Market. Yeah.
So.
What other places? Any other joints that people would be surprised about that you source from?
I mean, I get bread from my brother, so for some of our specialty sandwiches, shout out to Alay Bakery. They just opened a really new spot in Madisonville where we both live.
So that's another interesting bit. You talked about your brother, who used to be the chef de cuisine at Dutch's in Hyde Park. He has since now gone on to start Alay Bakery, also in Over the Rhine. Mm-hmm. They've got a new lunch and bar spot as well. You guys are like the Madisonville boys that are really, growing up here, coming from here, building here, and staying here. Do you get requests for interviews like every week between the two of you for that sort of thing?
I think that story is yet to be written, but it's going to be a good one.
That's crazy because I mean, really, you guys are both really making your mark on this city in restaurant form.
Well, our parents did a good job about putting that mark on us. We've always kind of grown up in the community, working with the community. My dad started the first community garden in Madisonville. We've always had that idea of sense of family and community, and then the meals, the filling the table every day. My mom's 1 of 10, so she always wanted to fill the table. So
is that part of like your motivation for even starting a restaurant in the first place? Is that sense of community?
It's just the hospitality aspect is really what I fell in love with first. Food is secondary to taking care of someone, making sure their day's better by entering and hanging out with you. So.
Yeah. One other part of what you guys do, there's the restaurant, there's the carry-out place in Madisonville, you've got the restaurant and bar in Over the Rhine, and then also you guys do catering, which is another big part. Once you get into the holidays, aren't you guys slammed for catering requests?
We're slammed, and that's just again, a testament to our great loyal guests and people that use us for all their family gatherings. The turkey it's a staple now for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We could never not do it. The hams for Christmas, brisket, all the stuff people have built memories around. So it's pretty cool. But we would definitely want to expand and do more catering.
What do you think is the biggest opportunity, and sometimes opportunities can be challenges too, to being in the bar and restaurant scene in Over the Rhine?
Well, you're up against a couple restaurant groups, first and foremost. Not a ton of independents down there. So there's challenges with buying power, cash flow, that kind of thing. But honestly, man, you just kind of got to grind it out. You got to, take care of your people, take care of the ingredients, the food, make sure the thing's the thing, don't stray, and, make sure you're having a good time doing it. I think a lot of these restaurants kind of lose their track and lose focus on, what we're actually doing here. It's like being hospitable and having a great time.
Is it easy for you to keep that focus?
It's a challenge, but it is. I mean, it's part of our core. It's part of what we kind of really won't budge on is are we making sure we're taking care of people, taking care of the food, and ourselves.
Well, I think you're getting tremendous feedback. Are there any plans for a third location? You expanded to 2 in less than 10 years, which is really amazing.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Right now, the focus is kind of on finding a home after we kind of shifted and got a model for OTR.
Yeah.
We'd really like to bring that back to Madisonville, where it all started. So as of now, we're just kind of trying to find the place where that can happen. We're pretty much maxed out in Madisonville.
And the Chandler spot.
Yep. So if we could find something that it's more sit down with a bar, where people can gather, make it kind of like a neighborhood spot, that'd be awesome.
Again, he's a local guy that has been doing stuff. He grew up here. He stayed here. He's building here. Brendan Hague, Bee's Barbecue. You got a spot on Chandler in Madisonville. There's the spot on Vine Street in Over the Rhine, which just about anybody in town has been to at this point. Shame on you if you haven't. And maybe a third spot coming in Madisonville. Thank you for the food. Great
Jack,
stuff.
Thank you.
Brendan Hague, everybody, with Bee's Barbecue. A great story of a local guy building up and starting here and growing here and staying here. Let's get a nice, good look at this as we head to break. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown.